What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, I finally have a day off to try to do something to maybe get caught back up on stuff. And of course, I'm sick most of the day. So, if I'm coughing, that's the one part of it I still haven't been able to really get over yet. So, I might be coughing a lot during this video. But yeah, I did want to make a video to sort of rate Chelsea so far, how we did in the summer, the new transfers, the new coach, all of that stuff. But before we get to that, I do want to address one thing. Guy that wanted to shout out on my last video, Leon Davis. There's your shout out. No, but he asked a question about the weekly Premier League reviews. And honestly, this is one that I tried last season. I tried to do it a bit, and I enjoyed it for the most part, but at the same time, it was also kind of a lot to look at every single game, try to rate, all right, so what happened? I didn't get to watch every game either because NBCSN started doing their stupid gold thing where you had to pay to watch all the other matches. So I didn't really get a good look at all the games. So some of the games I was talking about based on result alone, not performance. And honestly, it didn't really take off. I didn't really get a whole lot of views or comments on those videos. So if that's something that a lot of people were like, yeah, I do want to see that again. I'd like seeing that. Sure, I have no problem doing it. But if it's something where it's just like, it's just one person wants to see it, it's probably not something I'm going to be doing again. So, I mean, if you want to see more of that, just in the comments, let me know. Hey, that's something I want to see more of, and I will gladly start doing it again. But unfortunately, I don't think paying $50 to watch games that I'm not really going to be able to focus on, I don't know. I just don't see a lot of profit in that for me. So it's really up to you guys if you want to see more or not. But anyway, with that being said, let's get on to the video itself. First of all, I want to talk about Sarri. This is one that obviously I've talked about in my reviews of the game so far. I've had a lot of opinions. I've had some people with their opinions back at me. It's kind of I would say a 50-50 split based on what I've seen so far, just on like social media posts. Some people are ecstatic with them. Some people are extremely excited to have a coach that's going to be attack-minded, that's going to get out there. We're going to play some really nice, fancy passing football. That's great. On the other side of it, I've seen people upset. One, because of his choice of players, and two, because defensively we look awful. I more side with the people that think we look awful right now because in the way I was raised, the way that I grew up playing the sport, I was so focused on defense. I was a person that believed defense wins titles, and we saw that. When Mourinho was here, even when Conte was here, we had a solid defense. So that way, even though we didn't score a whole lot every single game, we had a solid enough defense to where we could keep a shutout for the most part. And so it wasn't always the most exciting, wasn't always the most attractive football, but it was effective. Where it breaks down is when you start to, I guess, lose the intensity on both sides of it. And so you're not scoring goals, and then occasionally you'll give up a late, losing goal. Those are the games where it gets really frustrating, where we're not really creating anything, and then we give up a late winner to the other team. That gets really, really frustrating, and that's why a lot of people don't like that style. But for me, if you don't have a good enough defense, you're not going to win a title. We've seen that with Liverpool the past few years. They've had great attacking football. And even like when Brendan Rodgers was there, when they had Suarez and what was the three they had up front? It was like Suarez, Sturridge, and was it Coutinho there at the time? I think so. But they had a great attacking trio, and they were dominant up top. And guess what? They didn't win the title because you can't win a title solely based on your attack. We saw last season with Man City, yes, they were very attack-minded, but they were solid enough in the back to when they lost it, they had somebody in Walker that could clean up a lot of it with the speed. They had two strong defenders in Otamendi and Stones that were big and were able to hold their own in the box. So that way they weren't giving up a lot of chances. And on top of that, they kept possession a lot, which means teams aren't going to be able to attack you if you have the ball. So there is something to be said about if you are attack-minded enough, you can keep a lot of possession. However, in the Premier League, that's very, very rare. I think last season, a lot of people were just scared to go at them, and we saw the couple times that Liverpool did, it caused them trouble. If more teams were willing to attack them, I think it would have caused a lot more problems for him because I don't think they would have been solid enough in the back to deal with it. So anyway, with all that being said, I spent too much time talking about other teams there. With all that being said, though, Sarri has obviously come in and implemented a strong attacking side. We've seen the passing being moved around. All the quick ball movement, all the movement off the ball. It's really looking good. The one part that I still think it breaks down is Murata up top. And so the fact that Sarri wants to implement this attacking style, but then puts in a striker up top that isn't moving enough to really make this style work, it makes me wonder if he doesn't understand. He doesn't realize what's going on, and he can't see it, And it's really starting to bug me because great if you want to come in and be an attack-minded coach. If that's the style that's going to work for us, great. Even if it's not the style I like, fantastic. But it's going to break down if you have Murata on the field. That's just the fact of it. Can he get better? Of course he can. He's still young, but he's not showing it right now. And he's not showing the passion and the drive to get better. And that's the frustrating thing about it. You're going to keep putting your trust in this one striker, and he's not getting the job done. And when Giroud comes on the field, guess what? We're scoring because he's opening up lanes, because he's winning the ball up top and creating opportunities for players like Pedro and Hazard who can finish. There's your problem. You don't have a striker that's doing anything. He's not finishing. He's not creating chances. He's just a body on the field. And yet Sarri keeps picking him. So my problem with Sarri is not the attack-minded football. Even if it's not the style I want, I can get behind it. I can say, you know what? Let's look good in the attack. Let's try to outscore the other opponents. We still have some good, solid defenders in Rudiger and Azpilicueta who can clean up when we need them to, even if we have David Luiz back there who sometimes causes problems on his own. But the problem is this attack-minded football is not being finished because you don't have a striker up there that's going to get the job done. And Sarri keeps going with him. In all 4 of our first games, he goes with Murata. There's a problem with that because he didn't show anything in the preseason, and he hasn't shown anything in the first 4 games, and yet he's still starting every game. So that's my biggest problem with Sarri right now is that he's not changing anything. He's still going with the same exact setup every single game, and it hasn't always worked out. I mean, obviously we won all 4 games, but it's not been convincing in some of those games. There have been a couple, especially the Newcastle one, I think, and the Arsenal one, where the two were just like really shocking to see how bad we are up top and how bad we can be defensively. Newcastle didn't hardly create a chance, even with all that possession, because there's nobody doing anything in the box. Arsenal showed just how bad our defense can be. We gave up so many chances. Thankfully, they didn't finish all of them. I mean, it could have been 5-2 at the end of the first half. So, with all that being said, those are my thoughts on Sarri. I don't have a problem with his style. I have a problem with his player choice so far. And if it doesn't get better, I mean, it can really hurt us down the line, too, because we're going to be in some games where we need to finish. We need to get that goal to eke out a point or eke out 3 points. And we're not going to be able to if he keeps using Murata. And, of course, on that topic as well, Batshuayi should have been another option, but our transfer department has failed again. Looking at some of the players that came in, Jorginho looks a good buy so far. Still hasn't fully convinced me as far as can he do the defensive side of it. I still think you need Conte in there to do the defensive thing, so let him be a bit more free to roam. But Jorginho, as far as the attacking side of it, has looked okay, has looked good. Kovacic has looked a great buy, and the fact that we managed to get rid of Courtois in the process, who has just been talking up a storm, all this chatter, and he's played a little bit at Real Madrid. So honestly, he's a head case that I think a lot of us didn't realize how much of a head case he was, and now that he's gone, we realize, oh, he was kind of nuts. So yeah, glad to have someone like that out the door. Don't like to keep players in the club that are going to bring the spirit down, that type of thing. So the fact that we managed to get some money on him and also bring in a player like Kovacic, even if it's just on loan, so far he's looked a great buy. He's probably looked our best new player that we've brought in so far. Hopefully get him on an actual transfer, not just on loan, because he seems to enjoy it here so far. He seems to enjoy the system as well. And he's looking a really good player in the midfield. So definitely a player we can use. Kepa in goal hasn't really shown a whole lot, and I've talked about this before. When you're bringing in a keeper for that much, you expect them to make great saves. And so far he hasn't. He's made a few saves that he's had to make, but nothing spectacular. Nothing David De Gea or Hugo or Lloris or Henderson or Allison. You look at those keepers for the other top teams, they're making saves that are just out of the mind. You're just like, how did you get there? Kepa hasn't done that so far. He's let a couple go that I think even good keepers would have stopped. And when you pay $85 million for him, that's a problem. So want to see more from him, want to see him grow as a keeper and definitely become a better shot stopper because that's what we need. We need keepers that are going to keep us in a game. And then obviously Rob Green was the other one just brought in for third string option. I don't really know why. I guess, we have another Englishman on the team. Homegrown, I don't know, something like that. I don't know all of the rules as far as, the homegrown players and stuff. I know there are rules in place, but they brought him in, I guess, as that third option. The problem that I have with this, though, is then we loan out Eduardo instead of selling him. I'm not entirely sure what's going on in the transfer office up there. Maybe something. Maybe something's going on. Oh, yeah, probably they're crazy. But yeah, looking at the loans that went out, a lot of loans again. A lot of good players loaned out as well. Batshuayi is obviously the one that's going to stand out for me as just why did we loan him out? And then we loan out Abraham as well. So our only two options up top are Giroud and Morata. Morata is not giving you anything. Giroud, he's a good player but not a finisher. We need a striker that's a finisher. And honestly, Batshuayi has been showing that he can do it. Obviously in the World Cup he had a couple embarrassing ones, but he's still a good finisher for us. He's shown that in the past. Why would you loan him out? So I'm just completely blown away by the fact that once again we loan out a couple players that we could really use this season. Who was the other one? I think we loaned out a defender that we could have used. Oh, Zuma. He's not exactly been his best ever since the MCL or ACL tear, whichever one it was, but he's still strong. He's still a player that is a good defender when we need him to be, and we just loan him out. I'm just like, okay, sure, let's just loan out another young, good player that we might be able to use this season. And the fact of the matter is, we're going to be having a lot of games coming fast. With the Europa League, it's going to be a lot of games, and there are going to be a lot of traveling games, which means there are going to be players that are going to be dealing with jet lag coming back. You're going to want to be able to use fresh players that maybe didn't make the trip, maybe just stayed behind at home and just trained the entire time. Well, we're loaning out all these players. Our options are becoming severely limited now. Why are we doing that? Why limit yourself? Now we don't have an option. We don't have a third string striker option. Oh, well, we got Hazard. He's not a striker, though. He is clearly an attacking midfielder that gets the ball from deep and takes it at the defense. Why are we... So yeah, our transfer again really fucked us up. It's bad. It is really bad when you loan out players that we desperately need, bring in players that we don't necessarily need, like a third string keeper, and an $85 million, was it dollar or pound? I don't even remember. But $85 million something for a keeper that's not getting the job done. And on top of that, we still really have a fullback. Alonso, he's doing okay at the fullback position, but he's mainly an attacking fullback. We don't have a fullback that can defend well. So why not change something? But no. They don't know what the team needs. They're just going out there and just buying players, loaning out players because, I don't know, let's flip a coin. Oh, it's on heads. What does that mean? Loan Batshuayi? Got it. It's so stupid. So frustrated with that. As far as kind of the season and where it's going and what I'm thinking is probably going to happen. So, obviously 4 wins in the first 4 games is a great start. It means we'll probably be challenging for the top 4, more than likely. I get the feeling that he's probably going to keep his best players for the league competition. Europa League, we were handed a very nice draw. Obviously, traveling to some of these places is going to be frustrating, but it's teams that we shouldn't really be struggling against. It's teams that we can probably put in a second string, which we do have some good players on the second string as well, and still be able to beat them. The problem is going to be all the traveling that we're going to do because who knows where these places are. So with that being said, I'm hoping that we kind of get a lot of rotation, and we haven't been doing that so far. Every single game it's been the same exact players, save maybe one or two changes. So I'm hoping that they start to rotate a bit more. I'm hoping he stops using David Luiz so much and gets a better defender in there. But with all that going on, you got Europa League, you've got Liverpool in the first round of the League Cup. I feel like we're probably something's gonna give. One of the competitions is gonna give. If I had to guess, probably gonna get knocked out in the first round of the Europa League, most likely. Maybe not. Maybe we'll get an easy team. Maybe it'll be easy for us overall. We can put in a second string again, but I get the feeling that's probably where we'll end. We'll probably end up losing to Liverpool. I think it'll be close. We'll be able to hold our own against them, no doubt. But we'll probably end up getting beat because that lack of defensive cover is going to kill us in a game like that. And honestly, I feel like that's the first time we face obviously Arsenal, but they're not top four. They're more like top six. I think that'll probably be the first top four game that we have this season. I hope it's a wake-up call. I hope it's a sign that, okay, we need to be better defensively. Because I feel like either them or Man City are going to show us that we need to be better defensively, because it can't just be, let's just throw in David Luiz, and no problem. And let's put Marcus Alonso on the same side as him, and no problem. No, in a game against Liverpool or Man City, it's going to kill us. It's going to absolutely destroy us. And we saw that in preseason when we faced Man City in the Community Shield. I mean, Mahrez just absolutely tore up that left side because we had no good defensive cover there. So that'll probably be a wake-up call for us. We'll probably get knocked out. And then in the FA Cup, obviously, no idea what's going to happen there yet because we still don't know what the draw is going to look like. But as far as the league is concerned, I am predicting a top four finish for us. I think we've got enough depth to where we can do both competitions and not have to worry about it. Now, I don't think we're going to be winning the Europa League or the League Cup. FA Cup is a possibility. But as far as the league is concerned, I just don't know if we have enough to go all season long. And the way Sarri plays, his style of play, I don't know if it's going to be able to help us win the league this season. Because it's just, when you focus solely on the attack, when you're solely just 100% attack-minded, it can kill you in the long run. You face teams that like to pack it in. We've seen that so far. We're not always going to get lucky and end up with a penalty or end up with, a lucky goal or a bunch of lucky misses from the other team. That's not always going to happen. We're going to drop points because of that. And I'm fully expecting us to not win the league but finish top four because we're going to have enough talent to be able to manage most of the games and be able to win most of the games against a lower opposition. It's really going to come down to the top four, top six teams. Can we do well against those teams? Can we manage to hold out enough defensively that our attack can get involved and we can start scoring goals? And, of course, how long will he keep trusting in Morata until he realizes he's not the right man for the job? That's kind of my predictions overall. I think I need to clean it up a little bit. So top four in the league, knocked out first or second round of Europa League, knocked out against Liverpool in the League Cup. And then the FA Cup is all based on what does our draw look like, where does it fit into our schedule? Do we face a top six team early on? Do we face them later on in the competition? If we do face a top six team early, I think we'll get knocked out then. But if it's later, I think we end up winning it. So, that's about it overall. I guess I could talk about just real quick a couple players that have impressed or not impressed. So far, the top three players that have impressed me, one has been Conte. The switch to a new position I thought was going to really hurt him. And there have been a couple games where he's looked a little lost. But he's slowly adapting to it, and I think he's showing he can do both sides of it as well. The problem with him is going to be, are you going to keep him caged to that right side, or are you going to let him sort of roam around the field? Because that's when he looks his best, when he can just roam defensively, close down players, cut off passes, because that's what he does the best. I think limiting him on that side is really frustrating. Kovacic is the other one. I've already talked about him a bit, but honestly, he's doing both sides of it very well. He tracks back. He's got some speed, very clever on the ball as well. There are times whenever I mistake him for Hazard because that's how clever he can look. The quick turns, quick change of pace. So I've been fully impressed with him, and I think he's done a very good job. And then the third one, surprisingly not Hazard, no, Rudiger for me. I think has really, really stepped up. He's had to be the defensive rock back there because his defensive partner is David Luiz. That's always going to be difficult. But so far he's stepped up. He's done a very good job. He's looked strong. He's looked confident. He's doing those diagonals, crossfield balls to the other side. Most of them hit their targets, so that's pretty impressive as well. So yeah, those three have really impressed. The three that have not impressed, obviously Morata, obviously David Luiz, and if I had to go with the third, I'd go with Barkley. Just because I think he's got more in him than he's showing. I think he still needs some time. He still needs a little bit more, I think, direction and coaching on what he needs to improve on. Because he's shown the quality from time to time. He had a couple good preseason games. He had I thought a really good showing in the second half of the Newcastle, 10 minutes and then he got pulled out. So it is kind of he hasn't shown enough, but he has shown glimpses of what he can do. And I'm hoping he can sort of take that and try to grow and build up because we're going to need him when we hit the Europa League competitions. So yeah, but he's definitely not been impressive enough to really make it in the team. So, and obviously David Luiz, already talked about him enough. The defensive mistakes just haven't been good enough. He hasn't really done enough on the ball to justify him being back there either. And then Morata's just a cone. So that's about it. But yeah, I guess I'm trying to make sure I'm hitting all the topics I want to talk about. The last one I can think of is what I want to see as far as the team is concerned going into these other competitions. Obviously, Hudson-Odoi is one that I think you have to play him. You have to give him a chance in these other competitions, in the Europa League and the Capital One and League Cup, whatever it's called now. You have to give him a chance. He showed out in preseason. You said he's going to be a part of the team, and he has not even made the bench so far, which in my opinion is a slap to the face. Oh yeah, he's definitely going to be a part of. Well, where is he? So the fact that you haven't even been giving him a chance, I'm just like, you better be saving him for the cup competitions. You better be giving him a chance there because he's earned it. I mean, the hard work that he put in preseason, as good as he looked in preseason, all I'm thinking is give him a chance. Let him show what he's capable of. You got all these other teams that got, 18 and 19-year-olds that are like, oh, look at them. Look at how good they are. And ours is being secluded back to the youth team again, even though he showed out in preseason. I'm just like, whose decision was this? Because this is dumb. So want to see more of him. I'd like to see Musonda get a chance because he's a player that I thought last season looked good in the couple of appearances he had, but didn't really look strong enough. I'd like to see him try to get stronger and try to prove himself in a couple of the cup competitions. Loftus-Cheek, obviously another one that I think deserves some time. And then as far as defense is concerned, I want to see Ampadu and Christensen getting their chances as well. Honestly, I think Christensen has already proven himself time and time again. However, for some reason, David Luiz is just still in there, still doing the same old crazy stuff, still not defending well. And it's just like, why when you've got Christensen on the bench? So hopefully, give him a chance at the cup competitions, show that he's better than David Luiz, and then he can play over David Luiz. But we'll see. But yeah, I think that is everything that I want to talk about. I'm pretty sure. If there's anything, though, that you have questions about that you want to talk to me about, please do let me know in the comment section below, and then we can talk about it, discuss, and all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.